If you watched my last video, I taught you how to graph a compound inequality. Okay, now you're going to need that skill in order to do what we're doing today, where we're going to be solving them algebraically and graphing them at the end. We'll graph our solution. So let's take a peek at each one of these. There's two types of inequalities given here. Okay, on the left side, what we have is an inequality involving the word and. On the right side, we have an inequality involving the word or. That one's very obvious because we actually write the word or in between the two inequalities written. That's right, there's one inequality here, second inequality there. So two separate inequalities. That is an or if you see two separate. Here, we write it all out as one long inequality where we have two inequality symbols, but it's all given as one solid inequality. That is the difference between an and an or. Now, remember back to the video that I just posted. In an and, our arrows are going to be going towards each other. So when we get our solution, arrows towards each other. Here, when we get our solution with an or, arrows are going to go away from each other. Here, we need to meet the requirements of both, while here, we just need to meet the requirement of this one or this one. Let's dive in. We're going to use what we know. Just like if we were solving an equation or a typical inequality, we're going to draw a line down the middle of our equal sign, our inequality symbol, whatever it may be. Instead of now focusing on it like a two-step inequality where we would add 5, bring down 4p, keep the symbol, this is now 20. Now we actually have to worry about a third column. That's all we're doing here. So now we're just doing 3 steps. Add 5 over here as well. Add 5, add 5, add 5. Inverse operations, keeping everything the way that it should be. 4p's in the middle, bring down this inequality. 3 plus 5 is going to give me a grand total of 8. And now I have 4p is greater than 8 and less than or equal to 20. That's how you would read that. You always read the variable first. That is key. That is a very, very helpful tip. Now I need to divide by 4 to get rid of that 4. Isolate the variable of p, which is always our goal. Isolate the variable. Divide by 4 on the right side. Divide by 4 on the left side. So again, we're just doing it 3 times now because we have 3 columns. 20 divided by 4 is a 5. 8 divided by 4 is a 2. I now have my solution written out. The way I would read this is always the variable first. P is greater than 2 and less than or equal to 5. This is just a fancy way of saying that P, the value of P, has to be 5 or smaller, but I can't go all the way down to 2. I have to stop at like 1.00000, wait, sorry, 2.0000001. I can go really, really close to 2. I just can't quite use 2 to make this inequality true. So if I'm going to graph it, I'm going to have a 0. I always put 0, 2, and then 5. This is a number line. I'm going to have an open circle at 2 going to the right because P is greater than 2. I'll have a closed circle at 5 moving to the left. Remember, my arrows are going towards each other, so my solution would be given as this graph. Again, possible answers: 4 would work, 3 would work, 3.5, 2.1, anything in between 5 and 2, but I can't quite use 2. All right, open circle, closed circle, open, closed. Over here, an or statement. How do I do an or statement? No different than you would do any kind of two-step inequality. It's the same skill. You really don't need me to teach you this if you know how to solve an inequality. You're just solving 2 separate ones. 5y plus 7 is less than or equal to -3. You're going to subtract 7. Cancels, subtract 7. Now we have -10. 5y comes down. Divide by 5. Divide by 5. Negative divided by a positive is a negative. circle it. Make sure your stuff's nice and neat. 3y minus 2 is greater than or equal to 13. I'm going to add 2, cancel, add 2. Now I have 15. 3y, divide by 3, cancels, divide by 3. Y is greater than or equal to 5. Circle it. Y is less than or equal to negative 2 or greater than or equal to 5. How would I graph that? Remember, my arrows here on an or statement are going to go away from each other. Okay, so what I have is a 0. Always put a 0. Negative 2. I'm going to do a closed circle. Y is less than or equal to negative 2. Less than to the left. Y is greater than or equal to 5. 5 would be over here. Closed circle going to the right. And there are my possible solutions for this compound inequality. As long as I choose a number that is less than or equal to negative 2 or greater than or equal to 5, it will work for this overall compound inequality. Numbers I can't choose, things that will not work for either of these. 1, don't try it, won't work. 4, won't work. But as long as I pick something out here, it will. Or statement, arrows go away from each other. You're just basically solving two separate inequalities. And statement, you're now dealing with two inequalities in one overall lengthy compound, but it's going to create a left column, a middle column, and a right column. You're still using inverse operations. These are things you know. You got this, okay? Study hard, practice these kind of problems. Good luck on your upcoming test.